Hey guys! All right, so today we're going to be talking about digestion. We finished nutrition last time. In video 7 was the last video, so that was all about nutrition as well as a few of the. Okay, I think 5, 6, and 7 were nutrition. Today we're starting digestion. Now, before we get into the PowerPoint this week, I have some explaining to do, clearly, because you can see where I am. I'm in my car. Is this weird? Yes. So if you remember from video, I think it was video 3 that was cutting out so bad because of my service while I was at home. And I promised y'all that I would get to an area because, okay, at home in Batesville, there are no internet providers. There literally are no high-speed internet providers whatsoever. So we rely on personal hotspots from our service provider on our phone. Now, that means that service is awful. And when we try to use the hotspots, it's also awful. So I promised y'all I would get myself to areas with Wi-Fi in order to record these videos. However, that was my office and that was perfectly wonderful. But with the number of cases booming on campus, I'm really going to try to, just in the effort of keeping myself safe. And also, I went out of town recently. I really don't want to potentially infect other people too. So just being responsible. And yeah, so I'm in my car in Batesville. The energy provider in Batesville is called TVEPA, and they are fabulous. They are coming out with TVI fiber internet for people in Batesville who live in really rural areas like us, and I'm so excited about it. But it's going to be like another year. Until that happens, they have outfitted these gigantic parking lots. I'm in the Civic Center right now. Parking lot. They have outfitted parking lots with fiber internet, super high-speed internet, really reliable internet. That way, students, instructors who are working remotely right now because of the COVID situation are able to download things, upload things easily, record lectures, whatever. Okay, so you're adults. I was thinking about getting a background for this so that you couldn't see my car. And I was like, no, you know what? You're a fucking adult. And also, you should know that your professors are struggling with life right now too. So, um, yeah, we're handling it the way that we can. So please respect. All right, my pregnant self in the back of my car recording a video about digestive system. Life is not what I pictured right now. And, it's great though. So, little heads up about this week. I've got your homework posted, and you've got a quiz due this week. All right, in the syllabus, it talks about how we are only doing the digestive system this week, not the urinary system. So if you see something with the urinary system in the same chapter as the digestive system, stop, wait. The urinary system is not going to be on exam 1, okay? And this week also has Labor Day, okay? So this was going to be a short week anyway with Labor Day, as well as giving y'all time to study for your first exam, which you should, okay? Is it open book? Yes, but my questions are mostly application based and they're timed, so it's going to be difficult for you to look up every answer. I would not suggest that at all. I would suggest you going to SI. I would suggest you taking notes from the lectures and really studying for these exams. So with that said, this lecture on the digestive system is really short. It's like 18 slides. So it might just be one video. I think it'll certainly be just one video. And then for the rest of the week, I want you to focus on studying for your exam, which is going to be due on Sunday, this Sunday at 5 p.m. and then finishing your homework assignments and your quizzes. Some of you are already falling behind, and it's disappointing. Don't disappoint me in week 2. What are you even doing? All right. So I'm going to share my screen, and we are going to start the digestive system. Chapter 28, like I said, is the digestive and urinary systems. We are cutting it off at the digestive system before exam 1, and then after exam 1, starting next week, we're going to cover the urinary system as well as at least half of the circulatory system. All right, guys, so your digestive tract. First, you've got a lot of different processes going on in digestion, lots of 4 different stages of digestion. So you've got ingestion, digestion, absorption, and elimination. All of these are occurring within your digestive tract. Now, this is the creepiest diagram to me in your entire book. The creepiest one to me in your entire book. And that's because you basically are a digestive tract, like with skin and bones around it. Okay, you literally, one of the first things that you made, okay, once you were conceived, one of the first things that you made, you're a deuterostome, so first hole that you produced was going to form your anus and then your mouth, and then in between your whole digestive tract formed. Now, you are literally a tube going from mouth to butt with other like special things like just glittered in there. So let's talk about the flow of food through your digestive tract and through this creepy digestive tract and what sort of stages you go through. So first of all, you've got ingestion. Obviously, ingestion, you're taking food into your digestive tract. Food enters the digestive tract through your mouth. Can you consume food through your kneecap? No, you sure can. Sure can. All right, so that's ingestion. Next, digestion. Oh, look, and it's labeled with the numbers for where they occur and everything. So digestion, this is going to be how food is either mechanically or chemically broken down into smaller units. Okay, now what is the process that we looked at that would take large molecules and break them down into the monomers that make up those molecules? What process takes a polymer and breaks it down into its monomer components? Hydrolysis. Okay, so digestion is just like hydrolysis. First, you have mechanical digestion, where food is physically broken down. This is going to happen in your mouth with the help of your teeth, sort of just mashing and tearing this food, as well as your tongue in your mouth, a really strong muscle. And then also in your stomach, you have food that is mechanically digested through the physical churning of your stomach. Then you're also going to have chemical digestion, where you have these digestive enzymes that are further breaking down food molecules into these monomer components. Now, even if they're not monomer components, because is every organic molecule made up of monomers? No. Which organic molecule is not made up of monomers? Lipids, fats. Okay, fats are not made up of monomers, but still they're going to be broken down into their smaller subunits. So chemical digestion also happens in the mouth. What's in your mouth that has digestive enzymes? Your saliva. Okay, and so if you remember back to carbs, okay, you had your 3 different major types of polysaccharides. You had cellulose, starch, and glycogen. Okay, all of this you should know for your exam. So if you're not like familiar with it as I'm referencing back, that's why we're having a short video this week, and that's why either a short video or few videos this week, so that you can study, because you need to study for your first exam. All right, so saliva in the mouth is going to break down starch as soon as it enters your mouth. Think about like a basket of fries coming to you. I'm pregnant, I shouldn't be talking about such things, except that it's all that I dream about. So you've got this basket of fries coming to you. What is, like, you see the waiter or waitress coming at you. Like, what does your body automatically start doing? You start salivating, and that is just a normal process because it's telling your digestive system, hey, starch is coming. I can start breaking it down in my mouth with the saliva in my mouth. That way, by the time all of that starch reaches my stomach, it's like ready to go, okay? It's ready to get absorbed as soon as it reaches your small intestine right here. All right, so that's your mouth. Stomach also has chemical digestion, tons of digestive enzymes in your stomach that we'll talk about. Small intestine also has some chemical digestion. Most chemical digestion will happen in your stomach. Most chemical digestion will happen in your stomach. Next, you've got absorption. Hold on, this is like falling. Okay, all right, we're gonna be great. We're gonna be great, don't worry. Oh, Jesus. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Don't fuck up the laptop. Okay. All right. So absorption is your third stage of food moving through your digestive tract. So you had ingestion, you're taking it in. Digestion, you're breaking that polymer down into monomer or subunit components. Now you've got absorption, where water and digested food enter the bloodstream from the digestive tract. It is physically moved. The stuff that you derive energy from is moved from your digestive tract and is absorbed into your bloodstream and carried to the cells in your body, okay, to power your body. Now, absorption of food happens in your small intestine, right here. Absorption of food happens in your small intestine, and absorption of water happens in your large intestine, which is right here. All right, now, you have a small amount of absorption that also will happen in your stomach, although your textbook does not talk about that, probably for a great reason, but I'm going to mention it anyway because I would mention it if we were in class. So your stomach also has a small role in absorption. So your stomach can absorb trace amounts of water, and so for instance, if you have a horrible stomach bug and you're not able to keep anything at all down, like you drink Gatorade and then almost as soon as you've had it, it's up again. This is good that your stomach absorbs trace amounts of water and liquids, because even if it stays in your stomach for a very short time, you're still deriving some nutrients from it. Okay, you're not having to wait. You're going to be dehydrated, and you need to get that under control, but the trace amounts of fluids are going to help your body maintain its functioning while you are ill. Then, not only does it absorb trace amounts of water, your stomach also absorbs alcohol, okay? Your stomach absorbs alcohol. Now, most of you are freshmen. So, I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about you. This is a hypothetical situation. You are 21 or older, and you are going to a beautiful dinner with your friends, and they say, okay, we're having a dinner party, everybody bring something, and you're over 21, there's going to be alcohol, obviously. So you sit down, and you've all been, say that at the same time, okay, you're having some wine and then you're eating something for dinner. What is going to hit you first? Not from experience, because I don't want to know about your illegal experiences. Let me say that again. I don't want to know about your illegal substance use. We follow rules here. what would hit you first? Theoretically, hypothetically, the alcohol would hit you first, right? So that's why they say that if you know you're going to be drinking, what should you do? You should eat beforehand. You should eat beforehand, get something in your stomach. That way you have these nutrients, you have more water, you've got stuff in your bloodstream. It's not just a bunch of alcohol that's a depressant and then followed by food. Okay, so eat before you go out. That's a great idea. Eat before you tailgate. Eat also while you're tailgating. Eat. You should, okay, here's a good rule. If you're going out and you are going to be imbibing liquids for persons 21 or older, you should take in the good stuff before participating in anything to do with alcohol. That's just a great idea in general. And we'll talk about why when we get to the circulatory system. Okay, so I won't ruin that right now, but we'll talk about that a little bit. So absorption, trace amounts of water, alcohol are absorbed from the stomach. Then food is absorbed via, the nutrients from food are absorbed via your small intestine. Water, along with electrolytes and things like that, are absorbed via your large intestine. Then elimination, you take everything that, after you've had digestion and absorption, you're left with this undigested stuff, like cellulose. Can you digest cellulose? No, it's fiber. So you're going to be left with a bunch of stuff after you've eaten that your body cannot process or didn't need. So then you're going to eliminate that via feces, via your anus, which is at the end of, so it goes, actually, let's just do this. So into your mouth, through your pharynx, which we'll talk about in a second, into your esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, anus. Okay, so that's it. You've got 4 different processes for as food moves through your digestive tract: ingestion, digestion, absorption, and elimination. Now, different organisms have vastly different types of digestive tracts. Okay, so your digestive tract is much different from a ruminant's digestive tract. Okay, like an elk or a deer or a freaking reindeer or a cow or anything like that, versus something like a wolf versus a pure carnivore. Okay, so ruminants like elk have specialized organs called the rumen and the cecum that help to break down hard to digest plants. Now, what do plants, all right, first of all, ruminants are exclusive herbivores, meaning they only eat plants. Now, what do plants have a lot of in terms of hard to digest material? It has a lot of cellulose making up those cell walls of plants. So, can we digest that? No, because we do not have specialized organs that would allow us to break down cellulose in our diets, but ruminants do. Think of like a cow. You have a cow, it is eating grass, picks its head up, it's just chewing this grass, swallows first. The first time it swallows its food, it's going to go into what's called the rumen. And in the rumen, you have a ton of digestive enzymes and like acids and things that are going to help you break down this plant material. Then from the rumen, this cow or whatever ruminant we're talking about is going to regurgitate that material back up into the mouth where it chews it more. So you have mechanical digestion, swallow it into the rumen, chemical digestion, regurgitate it into the mouth, mechanical digestion again, swallow it again, and it goes into the stomach where you have more chemical digestion. Okay, this is important because their diet is exclusively plant products. They have to be able to break down these hard to digest plant proteins or plant carbohydrates. Okay, Next, what you can see is that when it is swallowed into the stomach and digested, it's going to move into the small intestine. Ruminants have an incredibly long small intestine. That's because food needs to move slowly through this part of the digestive tract, because what is the small intestine responsible for? Absorbing nutrients from food. If you need to absorb nutrients from food, and it's hard to get nutrients from plants, okay, well, you need much more surface area in order to go through that absorption process. Okay, I hope that makes sense. The cecum is also going to be involved with more or less breaking down plant products. Okay, now, so if we're looking at the small intestine and the large intestine compared to something like a carnivore, like a wolf, we can notice that both the small intestine and the large intestine are incredibly short. That's because a carnivore, like, will it eat grass or something every now and then? Yes, but is that in its typical diet? Like, would it use that to fulfill a need that it has in its diet? Like, no. But what they're eating, if you see me like looking around, it's because I'm in a fucking parking lot and like people are just coming around. So I'm just looking like a whole crazy person. It's like an empty, gigantic parking lot, and you know, just be aware of your surroundings, people. Okay, so if you're consuming plant proteins, animal proteins, animal products are incredibly easy to break down. That's why something like a carnivore, like a wolf, can get by with a short small intestine and a short large intestine, because it's going to be easy for this organism to absorb nutrients from animals. Okay, so notice it does not have a rumen, and it has a reduced cecum. A reduced cecum, it's not like hardly functional. All right, so digestion begins in the mouth. We're going to go basically down the digestive tract, going more or less part by part. Now, what's important about this diagram, as we're starting at the top and moving down, is that the parts of the actual gastrointestinal tract are on the right. Okay, so the mouth, the pharynx, the esophagus, all of these are connected to each other. They all basically feed into tubes that feed into each other, versus your accessory organs that are on the left are not connected to your gastrointestinal tract. They're accessory. They're going to feed in, they're going to like help these things happen, help these processes, ingestion, digestion, absorption, elimination happen, but they're not actually physically part of the gastrointestinal tract. Okay. All right. So digestion begins in the mouth here. Enzymes and saliva begin digesting starch into sugar monomers. Starch is what type of organic molecule? Starch is what type of organic molecule? It's a carbohydrate. Okay, it's a carbohydrate. Specifically, is starch a simple sugar or a polysaccharide? It's a polysaccharide. Okay. All right. Enzymes digest starch into sugar monomers from saliva, okay, which comes from your salivary glands. Teeth are going to tear food into smaller pieces. That is going to be mechanical digestion, whereas saliva, breaking down starch, is chemical digestion. Pause this. I hope y'all know this. If I'm going too fast, just pause, take your notes, and then start it again. All right, the tongue is going to push food to the back of the mouth, and it's swallowed into the pharynx. So if you think about it, like your mouth, you've got a hard palate at the top of your mouth, and then towards the back, you've got this soft palate. And the pharynx, more or less, as food is pushed to the back of your throat before it enters your esophagus, it's going through this pharynx. Okay, it's going through this pharynx here. All right, swallowed into the pharynx, the trachea or windpipe closes and food passes through the esophagus to the stomach. So your pharynx has what's known as your epiglottis. It is basically the opening to one of two tubes. So you have your esophagus that's going to transport food from your mouth and pharynx into your stomach. And then you have your trachea, your windpipe, where you're going to breathe into your trachea, breathe air into your lungs through your trachea. Okay, now, if you're swallowing food, do you want to swallow food into your trachea? Where would that go? It would go into your lungs. Do you want to do that? No. So the epiglottis closes one hole and opens another. That way, food is sort of pushed into where it's supposed to go, right? Food is pushed where it's supposed to go. Now, sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes we're like eating and we're lazy, or sometimes you're like eating while you're talking, you're eating with your mouth open, and then like crazy shit happens. You get a noodle going down the wrong pipe. How does it feel when you got a noodle dangling in your trachea? You know it's not supposed to be there. Half of this noodle is like meeting your lungs, and half of this noodle is up in your mouth. Like, what are you trying to do? You're like, I have to make a choice here. Does it feel good dangling down in your lungs? No, it's supposed to be going into your esophagus. This is where your epiglottis is important. This is where small bites are important. This is where chewing with your mouth closed is important. All right, food passes through the esophagus to the stomach. Now we're in the esophagus now, and your esophagus is surrounded by, it's this tube, right? And this tube can expand and contract based on whether or not it's transporting food. That makes sense. Now it's lined, this tube is lined with a layer of smooth muscle tissue. And the smooth muscle tissue is important because this is how you don't get food just stuck there, okay? This is what the smooth muscle in your esophagus is what's going to push that food down to make sure it reaches your stomach. Because is it good when like you got a lump in your throat and that lump is food and you're worried you're going to choke and die? No, that's not great. So this is called peristalsis. You swallow up here and into your esophagus, and these rhythmic muscle contractions, they're taking this lump of food right here, and I'm going to stop this. Okay, they're taking this lump of food and they're going to push it. So now it's here, and they're going to go through peristalsis again, and now it's down here and again, and down, down, down. Pushing it down to your stomach with these rhythmic muscle contractions. That is the layer of smooth muscle tissue. It's important. So imagine you take a bite of food. You thought you could commit to this bite of food, right? And you can't. It's too big, okay? Even my husband, holy goodness, he makes a sandwich and it's like a 3-bite sandwich. And I'm like, why? Like, you want, like, why? You can't chew that. You can't chew that up enough that it's going to, that you're helping your digestion along. Jiminy Christmas, just like take a few bites, just relax. Like, why are y'all eating so fast? So, and you know what? This is going to be a serious problem, because I've never seen a girl take a 3-bite sandwich before in my whole life. I'm having a boy. I'm going to have to worry about him taking 3 bites out of a sandwich for my entire life. The things that I have to worry about. But you take a bite that's too big, you swallow it, and then you can feel it in your throat. What do you try to do? You try to like help it along by drinking something or like swallowing a couple of extra times. But if you just sit there with that lump in your throat, because you can still breathe, this is not, you're cool, it's not in your trachea, what can you feel? That lump of food in your esophagus, what can you feel? You can feel peristalsis. You can feel it physically moving down your esophagus and into your stomach. Wouldn't recommend trying that, but I'm sure we have all felt it. Peristalsis in your esophagus. Now we are, food has moved from your esophagus past this sphincter. You have sphincters all over your body that keep things, keep food, keep blood, keep poop, like moving in the direction that it's supposed to move. In the stomach, you have churning that continues mechanical digestion, physical, like your stomach physically like moves your food around, okay, that churning. And then you have gastric juices, which continue chemical digestion. Okay, gastric juices continue chemical digestion. I'm just going to move here and we're going to talk about gastric juices. So, lots of different stuff makes up gastric juices. First of all, you've got pepsin, which is an enzyme that digests proteins. That's awesome. Other digestive enzymes, you've got hydrochloric acid, which is what, think of stomach acid, okay? When you can throw up, or you can like just throw up into your mouth or something and it feels like it burns, right? That's stomach acid, and it's from hydrochloric acid, okay? You've got mucus, salts, water. All of these things together are going to make up what are called your gastric juices. Now, if the stomach has these gastric juices making it such an acidic environment, okay, super, super acidic environment, why does the stomach not digest itself? Why does the stomach not digest itself? Okay, if you are taking note-taking seriously, I want you to stop this and I want you to go find the answer, okay? Because that's how you're gonna learn. For those of you not taking note-taking seriously, I'm gonna tell you, but it is going to be a benefit to you to go find the answers to my questions instead of just relying on me to tell you. No, actually, you know what? Fuck it. I've said fuck 4 times in this lecture. Maybe car isn't a good idea, guys. I'm so sorry. I have a horrible potty mouth. It has gotten worse not being in a classroom. I'm not going to tell you this. Am I not going to tell you this? Yeah, I'm not going to tell you this. I want you to figure out, why doesn't the stomach digest itself? If this is a super acidic environment, what helps the stomach not digest itself? Okay, I guess I'm doing that. Now, the small intestine, remember the small intestine is involved with absorbing nutrients from food. It is highly folded, super, super folded. So you've highly folded itself, but then also in each of these folds, you can see these carpets of what are known as microvilli. Now, microvilli are, think of a carpet, okay? And your carpet, like a shag carpet, it's made up of these finger-like projections into your small intestine, okay? Now, these villi, they're going to come in contact with your food that has entered your small intestine, and when they're in contact with something in your digestive tract, what's going to happen is that they are responsible, your microvilli are responsible for absorbing the nutrients from food. Microvilli are literally going to move the food from your small intestine into the microvilli, where you have these capillary networks. Okay, you've got these capillary networks. You're physically bringing the nutrients from the food, the broken down nutrients from the food that you digested and ingested, into your circulatory system. And then it is going to circulate through your bloodstream to the cells that need nutrients. Okay? Celiac disease. Now, all right, have you heard of celiac disease? Most people have. Hold on. I've got hiccups. Hold on. All right, I had to pause myself to get my hiccups under control. Speaking of, hiccups are because your diaphragm is spasming. We will talk about that in the respiratory system in a couple of weeks. We were talking about celiac disease. So in people with celiac disease, this is not like gluten sensitivity. People with celiac disease it's like more than an allergy. This is an autoimmune response to gluten, okay, and to foods containing gluten. So basically what happens is that if a person with celiac disease, either they don't know that they have celiac disease, or they know that they have celiac disease and it's just that they're not managing it, and they're consuming things with gluten still, what will happen when they eat foods containing gluten is that the gluten will come in contact with their microvilli and it will kill these carpets of their microvilli over time. So if I say over time, I'm talking like it does so slowly. So if you know you have celiac disease or a family member has celiac disease and it's unmanaged with diet, that is a serious, serious problem. Your immune system is going to damage these carpets of your microvilli. That is hugely problematic because the microvilli are how you are getting nutrients from your food. So again, if someone has had celiac disease for 10 years, completely unmanaged, horrible celiac disease, like aggressive, and they're not doing anything about it, they will be malnourished constantly, okay? They will be malnourished no matter what they do, because if you destroy all of your microvilli or even most of your microvilli, these are not something that you can regenerate. You cannot make more of your microvilli. When they're gone, they're gone. So someone with untreated celiac disease and severe celiac disease, they could eat 10,000 calories a day and they would still be malnourished because they're not able to absorb those nutrients from food. Okay, now there are ways around this, obviously. For instance, it would probably include a huge liquid component to your diet, because your large intestine would sort of take over at that point to absorb nutrients from liquids that you're consuming. It's a bad situation, so don't be like that. All right, your pancreas, which is an accessory organ, your pancreas, gallbladder, and liver are all accessory organs. It is going to release enzymes that digest proteins, fats, and nucleic acids. Also releases a chemical that neutralizes stomach acid. Now, all right, so it produces and releases these enzymes into your small intestine. It is important that it releases this chemical that neutralizes stomach acid into your small intestine, because if you remember, as soon as food comes into your stomach, you are going to produce those gastric juices. Gastric juices will be like squirted out into your stomach as soon as food enters. That's the answer. That's one of the answers to the stomach, how the stomach doesn't digest itself. It doesn't have gastric juices in there constantly. And if you do, you probably have issues with acid reflux from overproduction of these gastric juices. But when this semi-fluid mixture called chyme moves into the small intestine, it still is a very acidic pH, okay? And unlike your stomach, your small intestine is not equipped to manage this really acidic pH. So you have to release this chemical that neutralizes stomach acid, okay? Specifically bicarbonate ions, but you don't have to know that at all. Okay. Then your liver produces what's called bile. biochemical called bile that helps fats mix with water. This is important because lipids are hydrophobic, meaning that they repel water. They will not dissolve in water. As soon as bile comes into contact with a lipid, it will come into contact with a lipid, and the lipid like bursts, and then you've got a bunch of little pieces of this triglyceride, and then it'll come in contact with these little pieces and they'll burst. Okay, so getting this molecule to be smaller and smaller and smaller to the point that it can mix with water, that is how your body is going to absorb fats. All right, so your liver produces bile, which emulsifies fat. Emulsifies fat just means that it helps it mix with water, okay? And then your gallbladder, which is situated behind your liver, so this big guy is your liver, super important organ. And then right behind your liver is your gallbladder, which is going to store bile. Now, liver produces bile, stores it in the gallbladder. Gallbladder is going to release it into your small intestine. Now, okay, when the gallbladder releases it into the small intestine, what happens with people who have had their gallbladders removed? That is a super common surgery. Your gallbladder might rupture, you might get an infection in your gallbladder, and you have to have it removed. Does that mean that you can no longer digest or absorb nutrients from fats? No. What they do in that surgery is that they will remove your gallbladder and they will redirect, instead of your liver directing bile into your gallbladder, they direct it directly into your small intestine. So instead of having like these bursts of bile coming into your small intestine, it's just this sort of steady stream of bile, and you'll be fine. Finally, and this is the last slide, the large intestine here. Okay, so you've got your entrance from the small intestine into the large intestine. Your large intestine absorbs water and salts, nutrients from, well, absorbs water and then like other electrolytes that have been left over in your undigested food and things like that. Then the rest of this undigested food is going to be released, eliminated as feces. Guys, that's digestion. That's the digestive system. I love starting with the digestive system because you know a lot about your digestive system already. You certainly know how it works. So it's a good system to start with. Pretty short, so it's perfect for Labor Day week. And this is the perfect first organ system for you to have on your exam. So at the end of this video, you have, so at the end of video 8, 1 through 8 are going to be covered on your first exam. That first exam will be posted on Thursday. It will be due on Sunday. And I will post an announcement about that in your class. Remember to do it or it's a 0. That's it. I'm not here to micromanage you or remind you about things, guys. This is your responsibility. So I hope you have a great week. I guess I'll see you from my car office next time. Bye.